Welcome to Table 20, a podcast by Tropico Collective, where we explore what it means to be human through food, hospitality, and creativity. I am Gustavo Alvarez, your host and table talk curator. Our conversation today is with the bright and wonderful Antonia McHugh. I've always been inspired by Antonia's way of embodying hospitality. She's kind, welcoming, curious, and passionate. Her evolution in the industry and her exploration of other cultures are a reflection of her approach not only to hospitality, but to life itself. While earning her science degree, Antonia balanced her studies with restaurant work. What started as a simple means to an end blossomed into an unexpected passion, leading her down a fascinating and unique career path. Beyond her professional achievements, Antonia's perspective on food has been shaped by her relationship with her mother and her journeys through diverse countries and rich cultural landscapes. I hope that just like me, when you hear Antonia talk about cooking for Easter with her mother or foraging for local herbs in the Icelandic landscape, you are inspired to look at food, people, and life with openness and a sense of wonder. Please take a seat and enjoy.
So I grew up with a single mum, and she's Greek, so I have a lot more Greek influence, of course. I still got to see my dad a lot, but he didn't really cook or anything like this, as dads usually don't do. So growing up, all of our special occasions were centered around food. In Greek culture, like Easter is a big thing for us. And when I was much younger, we used to have like a big Easter celebration with all of my family, my uncles and aunties. But then like over the years, I don't know, families can fall apart a little bit. So we stopped doing that so much, which was very sad. But we've started to try and do things like that again now, which is good. But Easter's great because we always have a massive feast, and then we do like the Greek boiled eggs that we dye different colours, and we have a little game we play where you smash the eggs together, and whichever, like you all get an egg, and whichever egg lasts and doesn't smash is the winner of the game. So just fun little things like that, which are around food. Then you eat eggs after.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So Easter is a big thing then.
Yeah.
So let's dive a little bit into that. What was like some of the dishes or some of the traditions that you remember, or was it like seeing your mom cooking from a few days before and all of these kind of things that kind of made the excitement bigger around the day, or was it because the whole community was just into it, or what was it about it?
It was definitely mostly my mum doing a lot of the cooking. She has two brothers, and so they didn't cook very much, so she ended up being the main one doing it. So there was always a big lamb, lots of lemon potatoes, and then spanakopita, which is like ricotta, spinach, cheese wrapped in some pastry, which is really nice. And we would make the spanakopita or the cheese triangles, which is made from the same stuff. And so it's like very strategic. You have to like fold it a certain way. So we would spend the days before Easter making those, which was really fun.
Oh, that's good. And then finally it culminates into Easter, and then everyone's happy. And as you said, you guys have the games and just having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's my earliest memory surrounding food, definitely.
I also remember you mentioned about your grandpa, that he was obsessed with cabbage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that the whole house from some days will smell like cabbage, and you guys would eat cabbage often.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. How did you guys cook it, or like, did you have like cabbage 100 different ways? Are you like a cabbage expert by now?
I don't really remember exactly because I was like 3-4 years old. I more just remember the smell of cabbage.
Okay.
Yeah, because he had dementia, so he just for some reason kept buying cabbages.
It was
and
his thing.
Yeah, it went on for months and months. And yeah, there was one day we came to his house and there was like 4 stacked boxes just full of cabbages, and we're like, all right, I guess we're having more cabbage. But it's more just the smell of cooking cabbage.
That's the thing you remember.
It reminds me of being, a little baby, a little 3-year-old running around.
All right, that's good. And then as you grew up, you mentioned you were a bit of a picky eater at the beginning?
Yeah.
And then you started growing up, and how did that change? Because from what I understand, when I think of Greek culture, it's not very picky, right? You guys eat a lot of everything and things like that.
Yeah. So when I was very young, I used to eat everything, but then I don't know, around the age 6, 7, I got really fussy with food, and so yeah, that was just that. There was lots of things I didn't eat for a long time, things that I love now, like olives and mushrooms and I don't know, all sorts. Seafood, I never would eat either, and there's a lot of seafood in Greek cooking as well. But then when I started working in restaurants, you know, you have to like try things to sell them.
Yes.
And then I started being like, okay, it's not that bad. And then started loving all different kinds of food again. So that was good.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And now, how did you start working in restaurants? Like, what was it a thing that you were doing through school, or you just liked food and you were like, oh, I want to work in a restaurant, or just randomly?
So during uni, like the best place to work is a restaurant because you've got the weekends off. So I went and did my RSA, and I was trying to find work originally as a bartender. I didn't want to do waitering because I didn't like talking to people very much.
Okay.
And I started working in stadiums, pouring beers at like football games and stuff like that, which was very fun, and it's a good way to like learn the absolute basic stuff.
Yes.
And then I started to work at a cafe called Coco Cabana, which is like a chain of cafes around Sydney back in the day. And then I hated it there. They hired me as a bartender, and then they just kept putting me on the floor. But my bosses, they were like, they'd never worked in hospitality before, and they'd bought this cafe, and they were just terrible, as you can imagine. And so I was looking for another job, and then I saw an ad for this new Jamie Oliver restaurant that was opening in Parramatta, and I'd just got my license. I was like, okay, I can drive there. And then that's when I got more into like proper waitering and learning all of the cool stuff. Yeah.
Oh, Jamie Oliver restaurant, huh?
Yeah.
It's a big name. So did that draw you? You were like, oh, Jamie Oliver, do I want to go? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That was the thing. I was looking for a new job. I just applied for that one job, nothing else, and got that one. And
Oh, that's nice.
yeah.
I also remember you mentioned that some of the relationships that you had there, especially with the girls around,
Yeah.
were very helpful to you because they help you like grow and they teach you things and give you advice. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was really nice. So a lot of restaurants, the staff are in and out, and there's people only stay for 6 months.
Yes.
But this place, we all kind of started working there at the same time. It had opened for maybe a month before I started, but everyone else, they kind of opened the restaurant. And then most of us were there for about 3 years, which is really rare in hospitality. So because of that, we just became really close and like a little family. There's lots of people from overseas who'd moved to Australia, and they don't have their own family as well.
Yes.
So there's some years that I invited them all to my house for Christmas, and we had a few people come, and so they could enjoy a big family Christmas. And I don't know, like just really close relationship, and we're all still really close and catch up a couple times every year still. And then there's like all these smaller groups within the big group who see each other more often. And
Yeah, of course.
yeah, so it's really nice. But a lot of them were a little bit older than me, so they taught me a lot about life and being an adult and relationship advice and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it
That
was
is
nice.
So then, I assume that from what you're saying, you like hosting, and your mom likes hosting, from what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys share? Like, has it been always the case that since you are small, being a girl from Greek tradition, she's like, oh, Antonia, you gotta learn how to cook and learn how to do this and all of these kind of things? Was she always pushing you to do that?
She was pushing me to do that, but at the same time, most of my time growing up, she was working 6 or 7 days a week. So I had the expectation to be like that, but I was never really taught it at the same time. So I learned a lot kind of just by watching or when I was around. But yeah, she didn't teach me exactly how to cook or all these things because she was just so busy. But I got there in the end.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And then after Jamie's, where did you go?
After Jamie's, where did I go after Jamie's? Okay, after Jamie's, I was working at two places for a while. So I was working at Jamie's and I was working at somewhere random called Treetops Adventure Park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's like doing high ropes courses and stuff like this. So I was enjoying that as well. But then I went traveling for 3 months across America and Europe.
Okay.
And when I was traveling, I met a boy, as you do. And then I came back. I worked those 2 jobs again for a while. And then he was like, oh, come to Iceland. And I was like, okay. And I
So
did.
he's the one that took you to Iceland.
Yeah.
But let me backtrack a little bit. So you decided to go on a big travel, 3 months,
Yeah.
to US and Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that. Where did you go? Which places did you visit?
So we went to America with 3 of my friends, and we traveled around America for a month. So we started in LA, then we went to Vegas and New Orleans, Chicago, New York, and then a couple of friends left, and then me and Guy, we went traveling for another 2 months. So we went to Cuba and then went to Europe and around Europe. Yeah.
All right. And what do you remember from those travels? Was there any experiences that, like, now that you've worked in a restaurant and that you've always like this, like, you've had this strong identity with food, was it like a culinary trip as well? Were you trying a bunch of different things, being outside of home and things like that? Or was it more just like a fun trip doing like other things?
It was more of a fun trip because we were mostly backpacking. Like, we couldn't afford to always go out and do super fancy meals, even though we wanted to.
Yeah.
We tried to get a booking at 11 Madison Park, and we were really close, but then they shut for renovations just when we were there.
No.
So we didn't get to make it there. But we went to, I've actually forgotten the name of the chef, but in Chicago, she's famous for her cereal milk ice cream.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
So
the one in Netflix here.
Yeah, on the chef's table, yeah. So we went and tried that, and that was awesome. But otherwise, we were just kind of eating cheaply a lot of the time. But it was still cool. A lot of street food.
How did you... Is it because you were in the industry or you were passionate about food that you started finding about these places? Because a lot of people, like, when you say 11 Madison Park, if you're not in the industry, some people might just think it's like an address, right? But when you say it to someone like us, it's like, it's 11 Madison Park,
Yeah,
which
right?
is like, wow.
Yeah.
Right?
I think being in the industry and learning more about food, you just become more interested in the bigger restaurants and the more famous ones and how they run and why they're successful. And I think Chef's Table definitely for a lot of people.
Yeah, for a lot of us, it changed it.
Yeah, I don't know. Just became really interested in it slowly as I was around it so much.
That's good. And then you went to Europe, and which places were you visiting there?
We went to the UK, so London, then we went up to Edinburgh in Scotland, and then Amsterdam, Norway, Germany, Slovenia, a lot of places. And then we travelled down to Turkey, then Greece, of course.
Yes.
And there was Iceland there in the mix as well, obviously. Yeah, a lot of places around.
Oh, wow. That's good. And I assume that was not the first time you've been to Greece?
No, I'd been to Greece when I was 16 for the first time to meet all my family and stuff like this.
And how was that? Is it different, like, from Greek culture here in Australia? Is there a big difference from the actual Greek culture in Greece?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, here everything becomes a little bit Australian.
Yes.
And then I'm second generation. So mum was born here. The rest of her family were born in Greece. So she was still raised very Greek. But then as she got older, she was trying to be more Australian to fit in, of course. So yeah, the culture, watered down isn't the right word, but it's not as strong.
Yeah.
And then in Greece, like, everything's just so Greek. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but what's some of the main difference that you can think about over?
I think the way they approach work is a lot different. Like, work is just work there, and don't work as much as we do here.
Oh.
They're more focused on being with family and leisure and relaxing and that kind of thing. It's still very common to like come home, have a nap, go back to work, that kind of culture, which is different here. In Australia, we're just so focused on career
It's
and
like hustle.
making money, which you have to here.
Yes.
But they have, I mean, it's still hard, very hard there. Their wages are low, but they have more of a relaxed attitude and, yeah, more focus on family and friends.
Did you like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice. Seems like a better way to go
Yeah.
about life
Yeah,
than
of
here
course,
sometimes.
yeah. That is very true.
Yeah.
What about in terms of food? Was there any big differences?
So I went before Easter, and a lot of
So you spent Easter there when... Oh,
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
must have been massive then.
it was really cool. But a lot of Greeks are Greek Orthodox, and in the Orthodox religion, there's a lot of fasting for different parts of the year. So before Easter, they fast for, I don't remember exactly, but like a month or so. And they're fasting, they pretty much eat vegan for
Okay.
like a month. So when I was there, a lot of the food was vegan, but it was nice. And then that makes like, at Easter, that makes it more special because you're finally eating like meat, lamb, goat, whatever, for the
Yes.
first time in a long time. But it's really special. You go out and you have a little candle and you watch the mass. And I don't know what he's saying, it's in Greek, I don't speak Greek. But you watch it and then the priest lights one candle and then the whole community is standing around. Like the church was overflowed, we're all on the streets. And then that one candle, everyone will light each other's
Oh, wow.
candle until the whole village has a candle lit.
Has a candle lit, yeah.
And you walk that home, you bless your house with it, and then you eat a big meal.
So from the church you take the candle home and then you... Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so it's a very magical experience,
Yeah, for sure. Ah. Now, tell me, is there... Obviously your mom used to tell you stories about Greece, like, oh, in Greece this is how they do it, or this is how it is. Do you have any stories that you remember saying like, oh, my mom used to tell me this is like this, and when I went to Greece you went like, oh yeah, you were right, mom, this is like that.
Always, it's a bit silly, but whenever we'd eat tomatoes here, every single time she'd be like, these tomatoes aren't good. They're not like the tomatoes in Greece. And so I was so excited to go to Greece and eat the tomatoes. And we went and we ate them and they were better. And I thought finally she's going to like shut up about these tomatoes. But she goes, no, the tomatoes aren't as good as they used to be.
Oh, no.
No pleasing her.
Not pleasing you, huh?
Yeah.
But they were better.
They were
Yes.
better, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, so you've been traveling a little bit and then you spent 3 months abroad. You come back
Yeah.
and then someone comes and tells you, let's go to Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
And you say yes.
Yeah.
What was the process? Because you found a job there, right? You went there to work or you went there without anything first?
No, yeah, so the guy was a chef and he got a new job at this restaurant that's only opened in the summer and they needed some waiters and bartenders and I just sent my resume and he was like, yeah, come over. And I did.
Did you need like a visa? Was it like a big process or?
Yeah, it should have been,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really know exactly what happened. I was told it was all sorted and I was like, okay, I trusted that. I went over and then found out I didn't really have a visa on my last week there. And so I had to leave a little bit earlier than I wanted to because I'd overstayed my visa already. Yeah. So I don't know.
So you got like a tourist visa and then you went there?
Yeah, well, I was told I had a working visa, but it never actually came through.
Oh.
So I was there illegally a lot of the time.
How long did you stay there for?
I was there altogether like 6 months.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So then you fly from here to there
Mm-hmm.
and you go straight to the restaurant or how it
Pretty
is?
much, yeah. So the restaurant was on a little island off the coast of Iceland. So, we drove. We had to catch a ferry, and then we meet everyone and they say, this is where you're living, there's a nice staff house across the road. And then started working straight away, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how was that change coming from? Because if you think about it, it's literally like completely opposite. One is all the way at the top, and the other, and Australia is all the way at the south.
Yeah.
And then how was the change in terms of like jet lag and meeting other people? Was there people from other places? What was that experience like?
It was really cool because there was a lot of chefs who had come from overseas, who were staging, and a lot from America, a couple from England. And then for the floor staff, I was like the only person from overseas, so everyone...
You were the only non-Icelandic?
Yeah, they're all Icelandic. And most of them lived on the island. And the island has a population of like 2,000 people, so it's a really small town. But they loved it because they love having new people come in and
of course,
new friends and stuff like this. So it was great, and they're really welcoming. Everyone speaks English there very well, so that was no problem.
That's nice. Tell me a little bit about. Let's make like a little experiment. Tell me a little bit about your day there. What was it like? Cause was it a Michelin star one, or trying to?
It was trying to, but the guide
Hadn't arrived in Iceland.
doesn't go there to that place because it was off the coast.
Oh, okay.
But the year I worked there, we got into the guide, but not we
Not
didn't
the
get
star.
we didn't get the star because I forget what they're called, the
critics.
yeah, they didn't come. But the chef that I worked for is very famous in Iceland. He has like a cooking show there and a few restaurants around. And he started very young, and he staged at 11 Madison Park and at Noma, so he had a really good background, yeah. And he decided to open restaurants, one, because he was very good at what he does. But when he was at 11 Madison Park, he realised some of the ingredients they were using that were really special, like certain herbs and that they were paying like $5 a leaf for. He realised, that they were growing around on the island that he grew up on. So that's when he was like, okay, I'm going to go home and start my restaurant, which was cool. Yeah.
That's a nice story. So then take me through a day. Like,
Okay, yeah.
we both seen the bear, right? And then there's this part when the cousin goes to stage actually in the other Chicago restaurant, and he comes and he's polishing cutlery for like 2 weeks, and he's like, oh, when am I gonna be able to touch a plate? And he said, oh no, first you have to polish. Was it like that? Was it an experience like this? Or take me to, like, let's say you wake up in Iceland, you go to work, what is it like?
So it wasn't that full on. It was very intense because we didn't have a whole lot of staff, but it would get very, very busy. Like the tourism there is quite high. So a day there is a lot of prepping. For the bar, all of our drinks were made with herbs foraged from around the island. So if we were running out of something, we'd have to go foraging.
Oh, wow.
Go foraging, turn those herbs into syrups or whatever we needed, get all that ready. We had a wine pairing, and that's easy, like we just have the wines in stock. But then we also had a juice pairing where we had to, make all our own juices and kombuchas and stuff like this. So we had to prep those and make sure they were all good. If everything was all set front of house, often we'd go help the chefs picking herbs and doing the more tedious stuff. Our chef's father was a fisherman, and he'd go out fishing every day and bring in fresh fish for the restaurant. So I'd watched the chefs preparing that, which is a bit gross, but So I don't know, getting everything ready would be a little bit chaotic because there wasn't a lot of us, but we always got it done, yeah.
Oh, that's great. And then service, what's it like? Is it like, were you food running? Were you waitressing or?
I started in the bar because there still was like a lot of Icelandic tourists coming, and they wanted it to be more like Icelandic people serving them. But then they realised that I was really good at serving as well, so they kept putting me on the floor because I was too fast. Yeah, so I started being on the floor a lot, and that was mostly okay, but every now and again there'd be like the older people who'd get mad that I
Yes.
didn't speak their language,
Oh, of course.
which I understand, but I was like, I'm only
Yeah, I'm
here
sorry,
a
yeah.
little while, and your language is very hard. Yeah, I forget my train of thought.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was just asking you, like, what was service like? Was it like one of those that is very like dynamic, where it's like ballerina style that you guys like come from the right, you put from the left, we all put at the same time, or was it a little bit more laid back?
Yeah, it was a little bit more laid back. So it was more like classic section waiting. You had your own section, and then if we had pairings, we'd have someone come do the wine pairings or something separately, and they'd explain where the wine is from and all of this. We had, the part that was hard is the pass was like behind a door. It wasn't like open kitchen, and that can be rough sometimes when it's really busy because it's so much running around.
Yeah, people going everywhere.
Yeah. But some service often, because they didn't have a lot of people who were super trained in hospitality, it could be a bit chaotic sometimes because it wasn't always efficient.
Okay.
They'd have everyone come in at one time and all on set menus, and it wasn't always efficient.
The
But when it
best,
was
yeah.
smooth, it was good.
That's good. So you've learned all of this, and you've spent like a lot of time there. Well, 6 months is not a lot of time, but it's not just like, oh, I went for a month and worked there. It's,
Yeah.
it's quite a few. And then you've learned all of this about syrups and about kombucha, and you've seen like some of the greats do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you come back to Australia, and what's next? Do you decide to apply this knowledge to like pursue like that, or not really?
I came back to Australia. I wasn't sure what I was going to do because I'd already finished my degree, and didn't really want to work in the field that I studied. And so another restaurant opened in Parramatta, which was a steakhouse called Chop House. And I was like, oh, I'll just do this for a little bit until I figure out what I want to do. I did want to work somewhere more farm to table or something like this, but
Yes.
I lived far from a lot of those restaurants. So I started front of house there, doing waitering, and then after a few months I was promoted to head waiter and then junior manager. Yeah. And then I ended up staying there for a while.
How long did you stay there for?
I think it was like maybe a year and a half, and then that restaurant closed down, which was very sad.
Okay.
And I was moved around a little bit, and then COVID.
Oh yeah, good old COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense. And how was that transition from doing something that was just to do while you were in uni, as you said, because I had Saturday, Sunday off, it was easier to find a job.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're doing it at the highest level in a country completely the opposite, and then you're back here in Australia, and you're managing a place.
Yeah.
How was that? How did you feel during that transition?
I don't know. I just loved it though. It was really, it was great. It was really fun, especially at that age. I was really happy to have the responsibility and help everyone be better at what they do. I used to work really well with the chefs, which the other managers, even the senior ones, they weren't really good at. And so having a really good relationship with the chefs and learning that that's very important was made things a lot easier
Yeah.
and a lot more fun too.
And keeping the chefs happy is always
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, a lot of managers try and just like tell them off all the time or say that they're
Yeah.
doing things wrong, but if you're just working with them, it makes everything better, as you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So after all this time, is there any lessons that have stayed with you that you remember? Like, oh, one of the girls from Jamie's told me this, or in Iceland they remember that they told me, you always have to do it like this when you're approaching guests. And is there something like that has stayed with you throughout all this time?
there's so many things that have that you can't like pinpoint it, right? It becomes like every part of hospitality becomes part of
Who you are, no?
who you are. I guess a big part is, and sometimes I forget this, especially recently, is like it's our job to make people's days, like that's what our job is, just to be a part of the day and to make it better. And it's actually really easy to do, just those little things to make guests happier. And if they're not happy, it's usually really easy to turn it around.
Yes.
And especially when I was a little bit younger, that was like so fun for me when someone was unhappy and I was like, I'm going to change their mind and they're going to love it. But sometimes, as with everyone, you lose that a little bit and people are grumpy and you're like, oh, okay, not again. But I always try and like come back to that feeling like, no, it's better to go about life trying to make people happy, if it's at work or outside of work. We have a lot more power to do that than we give ourselves credit for a lot of the time. Yeah.
All right, that's great. Tell me a little bit of how it was, now that you've got all these lessons, all this experience, what it was to be a leader. What was like to be in charge of a young Antonia, let's put it that way, someone that's just working there as a student, and how did you do it? How was being in leadership?
I loved it. It can be hard at times because, you know, sometimes you have to be a bit strict with people. And there's a lot of people who think you're always out to get them or something, and you're like, no, I'm just telling you this to make your life easier and service easier. Like, it's not always like a directed attack or something like this. So that can be hard as well when you're a leader. Having some people push back is a bit difficult, but it's important to learn that that's just part of it, and not everyone's going to like you all of the time, but sometimes you got to be a bit stricter.
Yeah, you gotta crack the whip.
Yeah, exactly. But it makes things better in the long run. And if you're doing it for the right reasons, people always realize that you are, and you're not just being
mean or
they realize you're just trying to.
But it's not personal, right?
Exactly, yeah. But it can be hard because a lot of people take it personally.
Yeah, especially you went to leadership so young.
Yeah.
So sometimes you gotta tell people perhaps that were older than you, telling them what they're doing, and sometimes they might not take it the right way, right?
Yeah, and there was some people who just wouldn't listen because they were a lot older, and I've been doing this longer than you, which I understand as well. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's life,
normal.
right?
Yeah.
All right, Antonia. So we've talked a little bit about your experience and how you grew up and your role in hospitality, what food means to you, a little bit of your traveling experience, working abroad, and a few different things. So I've got another question for you.
Okay.
Do you think that with all this experience, culture, memories, all of this, did that take you into hospitality, or you chose it? Do you think you were chosen for it, or do you think you chose it yourself?
Ooh, I think a little bit of both, right? Yeah, hospitality is such an important part of my culture that I grew up with, even if it was only a little bit. And then once I started working in the industry, I just loved it more than what I was studying at the time. So I just kept doing it. Yeah.
All right, so a little bit of both.
A little bit of both,
I like
really.
that answer.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, I want to talk about how you have branched out into the world now, because you've had a lot of experiences, different ones, and I think it's a great journey. But I want to see a little bit of how you think now and how you act in the industry and in general.
Okay.
So first, I want to talk to you about leadership, and
Yeah.
I want to ask you does it mean to you to be a leader now that you are a leader?
Okay. So part of my journey as well, I have also done teaching. So I've done science teaching and I go around to different schools.
Yes.
But the reason I enjoyed teaching is that the aspect of leadership, and the reason I like leadership is because your role is to be a teacher, and it's really rewarding to show people how to do things and become better and watch them grow like before your eyes, and know that some of the advice you gave them helped them grow, and it just feels nice to help people be better at work, in life.
In life, right?
Yeah.
It's an important role to take to, like, as you said, with kids it's even more crucial, but even at work, at a restaurant, when you see someone doing something silly, and some people might be like, oh my god, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
Going there and saying, but this is not how you do this, da, 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 da. It's
Yeah,
and it's rewarding when you see them do it properly, right?
exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I completely agree. Now I want to ask you about some leadership advice,
Okay.
and who gave it to you, and like the best leadership, some of the best leadership advice you've gotten, and who gave it to you, and yeah.
That's a tricky one. I think with leadership advice, no one really gives you direct leadership advice, but you kind of learn from the leaders you've had, right? So you see what works and what doesn't. The people who come in and they're really strict and hard and, you know, angry all the time.
Yes.
You learn quickly that you instead of becoming closer with that person, you start to push away. And when things go wrong or you need help, you're not going to go to that person. But when you are a little bit kinder, even if you're saying something that people might get stressed about, you know, we have to do that sometimes, it helps them to come to you when things are going wrong. And that's important. You need to have the trust of the people around you to actually
Yes.
come to you instead of trying to cover it up, which a lot of people do. Because it's better to just be there to actually help the situation than have no idea something has happened because no one told you about it, you know.
Yeah.
So I think just seeing the leaders that took that approach of actually showing you, teaching you, being kind, helps someone grow a lot more than the ones that were really strict and like trying to be authoritative and I'm better than you because I'm the leader, you know? Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I think that's true. Sometimes you don't get the advice like, oh, you should do this or you should
Yeah.
do this. It's about how do you feel with the leader, and you're replicating it later on. Right?
Yeah. You just see what works better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, is there something that you wish was different that you see leaders do often, and you mentioned being strict and something, but is this something that you would like to see today that changed?
Yeah,
A
I
little
think especially in hospitality there's a big culture of just putting people down when they're not doing good enough. So there's been a lot of people along the way who are like that. And I think they forget that, especially when you're working with young people, that they take that home with them and they beat themselves up about it and they think, you know, they're not valuable because
Yeah.
they made a mistake and put in a fish instead of a steak. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That part doesn't matter. It's not worth making someone so upset that they're thinking about that for days and weeks on end just because they made a little mistake, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, great answers. I completely agree. Now, as you mentioned just now, you were teaching,
Yeah.
and also, but that comes also from you were teaching science, right? Because you are a scientist. Is that correct? You graduated.
Yeah, I graduated a Bachelor of Science in neuroscience.
Yes.
So, yeah, I've got a big science background as well. Yeah.
Do you think there's a lot of science in hospitality?
Yeah, definitely. Cooking and making cocktails and knowing about wine and all of that, it's all science. So that's probably another reason why I do really enjoy it. especially at the restaurants where you're learning in more detail about
Yes.
all of the steps along the way and exactly how things are made, because everything to do with cooking is science. You're mixing stuff and heating it up to get the right taste and consistency, and learning about that and explaining it to customers is fun.
Yeah, very true. Now, just like you mentioned, now with science we can come up with like better ways to cook something, or a list of ingredients that if together they just work fine. Or there's like these things like gin and tonic that if you have it separate, it's not as good as if you have it together, and there's like scientific reasons for all of this. I don't know the specifics, but I believe that's true, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you think one day we'll get to a point where we can do that with like the actual experience of being to a restaurant? Like, oh, if you got this kind of music and you paint the walls yellow and the plates are squared, it's guaranteed that the customer is gonna have a great time. Or do you think there's an aspect of it that is always flying and no one will be able to catch lighting in a bottle and say, this is the perfect experience?
Well, I think the perfect experience comes from the waiters and the bartenders and the people you're actually dealing with. Like, everything could be perfect, the food could be perfect, the setting could be perfect, but unless you've got people who are willing to like be part of it and sell what you're doing. Sell's not the right word, but like be there to explain, I guess teach what is actually going on and why the dish in front of them is so exciting, then it doesn't work. So I feel like the human element of hospitality is what at the end of the day makes it work.
The experience.
Yeah.
That is. So with this, the experience and what you're mentioning of all these elements of the waiters knowing their things and making great cocktails and using different techniques and all of that, there's also a part that we like to talk a lot about at work. That is the razzle dazzle, right?
The razzle dazzle, yeah.
The razzle and dazzle. It's not only the waiter being friendly and all of that, but sometimes the experience itself is like razzle dazzle, right? Like when you get dry ice on the food and people just, and the smoke's there and everyone just loves it because it looks great on social media and it looks, and it just caught the eye of everyone.
Yeah.
What are some experiences throughout all of these that you remember? Wow, like when you were in Iceland, was there something that the razzle dazzle, that side, made the dish way better than it should have been?
Yeah, so we had like one of the famous dishes was a lobster soup, and it's just a little bit of razzle dazzle, but it was great. The dish itself was delicious. It was amazing. It was actually langoustine, not lobster, but you'd have your bowl and like the little langoustine perfectly cooked at the bottom, and like some oil around and whatever, and it was presented all beautifully. And first you set the bowl down and you explain to them, this was fished today, this was caught today, and all of that stuff, where it's from, and the other little ingredients, which we foraged as well.
Yes.
So that's an element of razzle dazzle. And then it was a cute thing that's a lot more common now, but then the soup we'd bring out in a little teapot, we'd pour it over the top of the table, and then everything would swirl around and the green oil would swirl around and the smell would hit you straight away, and that was some razzle dazzle for sure. So razzle dazzle from the food itself and from us explaining it, making it happen. And we do a really dramatic pour too.
Do you think that it really defines the experience? Do you think it really makes a difference? Because some people are very practical, right?
Yeah.
If the food's good, at least it should be enough, right? But I think personally, I do believe that razzle dazzle makes a difference. Are you on that camp, or do you feel like sometimes it takes away from the food?
I think it definitely makes a big difference. It makes it exciting, something you haven't seen before, especially the past 10 years with food. Everything has become more about like, will this be shared on social media?
Yes.
And although that part of it can be not annoying, but like sad that it's about that,
Yes.
it's also fun, right, to share this place you've gone and this fun interaction you've had, and then the theatre of it. That's what you want to share around and show off to your friends. So that's good. We love razzle dazzle.
We love razzle dazzle. And then with all of this, were there points where you brought razzle dazzle that you think, oh, this time, this cocktail that this bartender gave me was great, but then I thought oh, maybe if we add a little bit of smoke, or maybe if we add a little bit of this. Is there anything that you recall?
I feel like I've always given little like opinions about things along the way. I can't remember anything specifically. I'm sure there's some things though.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just asking.
I don't remember anything specifically.
No, that's fine.
I feel
That's
like I
fine.
will later though.
You do, just let me know and we'll just go straight into
Yeah.
it. Now, if, now that you don't remember, is there, let's do like a little bit of a thought experiment.
Mm-hmm.
If you could choose one hospitality experience that you've had recently or from the place that you're working at now, is there, how would you make it more razzle dazzle? Like, set it for us. Like, oh, perhaps, yeah, just set it for us.
Like a place that I've worked at, how to make it more
Yeah, or
razzle-dazzle.
any experience. Like, oh, I went to this place and I had this dish that was great. But if I had to make it a little bit, like, theatrical, how
Yeah.
would you do it?
Ooh, a little bit more theatrical. I feel like dry ice is like such a big one. Everyone uses it. So I was like, what's going to be the next? What's going to be the next dry ice? I think anytime, you see it more at cocktail bars, but anytime there's like a fire element, that's always cool.
Yes.
We had one dish at Chop House that we lit on fire, and that was always fun. But sometimes you'd accidentally like light the table on fire or your hand on fire or something, and then
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
What was the dish? What was?
it was a bomb Alaska, so like a meringue.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we just had a little shot. We get to the table, light it on fire, pour it over, and the whole thing would go up in flames. It was very cool, but so easy to get wrong, and so a lot of people were scared to do it. But I feel like more little things like that are fun. But so many places are scared to do it because there's
Yes.
so many risks. I mean, a lot of razzle dazzle, there's risk in it actually working,
Yeah.
and then like the things that can go wrong that could be dangerous or something. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's why a lot
Yeah,
of
that is
places aren't
true.
razzle dazzling so much.
And also, like you said, some people are not comfortable with it. Like if you, oh no, I'm a waiter, I'm not gonna go there and start throwing this or
Yeah.
carve this meat in front of them or do this kind of thing. You need like an extra level of skill, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like a big part of hospitality is theatre, and so if you're not
Yes.
willing to do
To
that,
do it.
then it's not going to pull off, and it's
Mhm.
not worth it. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I've got another question related to what you were saying earlier about in Iceland. You were saying that sometimes you got people working there that didn't have hospitality experience or background, and that made things a little bit more messy.
Yeah.
As someone that comes from Mexico, where we have a lot of hospitality,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have the know-how sometimes. We have, like, we're one of the biggest touristic countries in the world, but sometimes we lack the know-how.
Yeah.
One of the things that really shocked me here in Australia was that everybody has the know-how, right? As soon as you work in a restaurant, you learn how to carry two plates, you know how to do this, you know that this should be pulled from the right-hand side, you should, this is the way that you should speak with the guest. How was that for you coming from a place where do you agree with me? Do you think that's the case, that here the know-how is way higher?
Yeah, I think here, I mean, partly because we just have we've had a really fast growing food scene the past 20 years. And I guess it's just like, I don't know, like a very etiquette based thing. Like things have to be done in this certain way because it's part of the etiquette of it all.
Yes.
So, yeah, and I think because here there's a lot more big hospitality businesses, it's not so much like smaller family things. Everyone has to learn that stuff fast to stay in the industry, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that. Now, a little bit of a related question with Australian hospitality. This is, well, I don't know, but anyway. So I come from Mexico, right?
Mhm.
And we have and you have, which I assume is the same with Greek culture.
Yeah.
There's very strong culinary identity. Like
Yeah.
there's dishes that have been made this way for even centuries, right? And Greece has had a lot of cultural exchanges, just like Mexico. We were colonized.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure if you guys were colonized at one point, but I'm assuming perhaps.
Yeah, different parts were colonized by Turkey.
Yeah, which I'm assuming creates a little bit of a exchange of cultures, and I
Yeah,
think a
definitely.
culinary exchange.
Yeah.
Now, here in Australia, a lot of people say that you guys don't have a culinary identity.
Yeah.
But I find myself, the more I spend time in the industry and the more that I go out into the industry, that perhaps the shaping of the Australian culinary identity is happening right before our eyes right now.
Yeah.
As an Australian that comes from a background with a very strong culinary tradition and a very strong culture, do you agree on that? Or do you think there was already an identity of an Australian cuisine?
No, like there definitely wasn't a strong identity before. My mum talks about growing up, how Australians just ate so boring, so simple, like very kind of ration food. It seemed like it was, and older Australians were afraid to try new things, and so mum coming here, the things that they would eat, they'd often be made fun of for. Or people couldn't believe, like, oh, you eat lamb? Like, that was crazy to a lot of Australians back then. Yeah. But I think because we are a country of immigrants from all over the world, our identity now is becoming like the way we fuse them all together.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have a strong European influence, strong Asian influence, really good produce, and so we don't have like a specific identity, but you kind of know Australian food when you're seeing it, I guess.
Yeah, like you said, it's a blend of everything. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure with your time also abroad and everything, when you come back, you feel like there is like the identity is happening right now. No, it's like.
Yeah, that's it. And as well, when you're overseas, you kind of see more like the little things from your country that you miss that aren't there, like brunch. I mean, it's getting more popular everywhere now. It is more popular everywhere now. But it was like such a very like Australian thing to have. Yeah, right?
I spoke with JC about this, and we both agreed that you guys have like a very strong like culture. You can go to any cafe anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like the food is strong, coffee is great.
Yeah.
And it's just, you really, really guys know how to do it.
And there's like certain dishes that have to be on every cafe menu.
Yes.
And you mightn't find those overseas, but it's like you gotta have your, I don't know, acai bowl and
your avo toast,
your
of
avo
course.
toast is big. Yeah, and now brunch is evolving now to, again, the fusion. All of the cool places now are like the Mexican style brunch or the Thai style brunch, but it's still got that Australian brunch.
Okay, yeah,
base,
that is true.
Right?
Yes. The base is there.
So, yeah.
I agree. All right, I wanna move on a little bit. We've talked about the industry. We've talked about your journey. I wanna lighten up things a little bit.
Okay.
And I wanna go a little bit more into like just Antonia in general.
Yeah.
Because we do love our industry.
Mm-hmm.
We have fun. As you said, eventually you find out that you liked it more than what you were studying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. But sometimes our industry can be a bit too much. It's crazy. It's hectic. So I just want to know a little bit of like Antonia outside of work and what she does and what she likes to do and all of this. So I want to ask you if you have any, after busy shifts, do you have any traditions or any rituals that you try to do every time? Is there like after Valentine's Day or New Year's, I need to take a bath and just relax by myself? Is there anything like that for Antonia?
It's always watching a few episodes of a show. So it's usually get home, order Uber Eats after a really busy shift, wait for the Uber Eats, watch some TV, eat it, shower, watch some more, scroll TikTok. That's on the really hard days, you just don't even have the energy to do anything, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah, and sometimes your body is just destroyed after a big shift. So there's nothing in particular, but like I do love good TV shows, especially like Australian TV shows. I've been really like focused on at the moment, like only watching
On Australian
written,
TV?
yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because with streaming and stuff, everything has become more about overseas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we have so much good content here. I want to like support it and enjoy it and see my city in the show. So
Yes.
yeah, that's been my ritual lately.
That's good. Now, outside of work, as I told you before the interview, I've been looking through your Instagram.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things about your travels and other things. But your Instagram in particular, I have to say, it's great. It's fantastic. There's like two spectrums, I believe, of the Instagram. Ones that are like extremely polished and every picture is like super edited and everything's like kind of like that. But then there's the other spectrum where things are a little bit more natural and you're posting things that are meaningful to you.
Yeah.
Which I think is the case with you. And I saw that you have a lot of, it's just raw, it's real, it's like a collage of Antonia,
Yeah.
which is great. So I wanted to ask you a little bit of that, like how, why like just letting it go like that,
Like
unfiltered.
unfiltered.
Like,
I guess with social media, I always go on and like hot and cold with it. Like I'll be really into it for a while and wanting to post heaps, and then I won't for a little while and stop. But when I'm getting more into it, I'm a bit like, just don't worry. It doesn't really matter what anyone thinks. Like it's either something that I think is amusing and I just want other people to see it and have a laugh too, or I just want to like capture a moment in time so I can look back on it later. And often that's a little bit chaotic and a little bit silly, so
it's
yeah.
good to keep things silly.
Yeah, but I guess I just don't, when I'm using social media, it's so easy to, like when you're posting a lot, it's so easy to start to be really critical of yourself.
Yes.
And you can see a lot of people doing that, like every single post is just perfect. But when I'm like posting a little bit more and getting into it, I just try and like let go of that and be like, no, I just feel like doing this now, not
that's
for
great.
the likes or anything like this, just put it out there, you know?
Put it out there.
Yeah.
That's great. I saw there that you also do a lot of, you take a lot of time to like, how can I say, like there's moments where you just are present and it's just like you saw this thing or you saw this sunset or you saw this thing and you just, like you said, you take a picture and you leave it there for later. Is there, I just want to know how did you find these moments? Is there any moments like the sunset always hits you or going to the beach always hits you? Is there like something like this that always makes you feel more present?
I think there's no particular moment that, like no particular trend in my moment that will hit me and I'll want to post or capture. But sometimes it just happens and you feel it and you're like, this is good and this looks nice, and there's no real trend to it. It's just certain moments in time feel special for whatever reason.
Okay.
There's like fun and beauty and everything really. You just have to be in the right mood
That's
to
true.
capture it.
My question was, when was the last time that you felt present, that you enjoyed something small, like perhaps you had tea and the smell just hit you and you were here right now with that smell?
Yeah, okay. So most recently, it was actually, it was at work. Sorry, my train of thought is everywhere. We're very lucky because we work like on the water, and I always forget that that's where we work because you just forget
Yes.
about the background a lot of the time. And I try and remember like to just to look out and enjoy it for a few seconds. But the other day, when the sun was setting, the clouds were looking beautiful, and I just looked down. I was like, we're lucky that we get to work here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and then that always makes the shift better because you're like in a better mood and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, everyone's here experiencing this and this is like a special thing for them, but we get to do it every day. And like remembering that just makes you want to do better, I guess. Yeah.
Just one moment can, like one moment of presence can just like change the whole day.
It can change your perspective, especially, I mean, there's so many days that just feel a bit like, we're doing this again. And those moments you're like, no, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
we're here.
And especially you were saying it before that we're in the industry where it's not only food and drinks and all that, but it's also, like you said, making people happy or creating memorable moments.
Yeah.
And we do forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
often part of people's special occasions. I mean, with our particular restaurant, it can be hard because a lot of the time we're serving business meals and stuff like this, and that's just not as exciting because it's not really about us, it's about just their business.
Yeah.
But when we get to do the birthdays and these fun things, exciting things for people, that's when it's really cool. Yeah.
That is when it's really cool. Now, a little bit about that. Do you think sometimes the industry is a little bit like undervalued because people just see it as like, oh, it's just a restaurant, it's just this, but people don't realize that sometimes people don't even realize that they're spending their special moments there. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I think about it and I think, what do people do when they're off or when they're not working or when they're not there? And 60% of the time is going to a cafe, going to a restaurant, or going to travel, or these kind of things that are, it's all hospitality. And sometimes I think people forget and just like kind of cast it aside.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially in COVID and the lockdowns, like that's what people were talking about. Like they miss going out and sharing meals and sharing drinks with their friends. Like that was the main thing people were lacking. Like, you know, they had everything else. We had money from the government and stuff like this. Like everyone's lives were mostly, I mean, it was hard times, but like, you know, things were fine. People were fed and whatever. But life is about going out and enjoying the world. And so it was weird because everyone realized how much they missed it, how much they missed hospitality and the arts, which kind of go hand in hand, right?
Yes.
And then it was great when we opened back up again and we were working. People were so excited and so thankful, like, that we were there. And so we had that period of time where people were like, oh my God, thankfully this is back, right? But as life goes on, I feel like everyone's forgotten that again.
Yeah, of course.
But that's one hard thing about hospitality, especially when you're front of house. Like people take chefing as like a serious career,
Yes.
but front of house not so much. But at the same time, they expect really good service and people to know what they're doing, which
Yes.
you're not going to know unless you've been doing it a while and it is your career. So it's like, yeah, it's a bit sad that people don't value it as much as they should.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Keep going.
Okay.
So, I want to ask you about something I saw on your Instagram
Yeah.
that really, really, really stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this on your page. It's a post from 13 years ago.
Okay. I have no idea what it could be.
It's a post from 2012, and I'm gonna read you the caption just because I think it's so magical, and it encompasses Antonia so much, and it really, really got me. And I think you'll know from the moment I start. You wrote, 12 years ago, I got this bottle with a tin of Milo. Every morning I have been with my dad since. I have woken up to chocolate milk he made the night before me. I love Daddy. I gotta say, what a caption.
Yeah.
And it's just a picture of a Milo tin.
Yeah.
But it just represents what we're talking. That it's just the simplest thing, and that you took it out and you just made it something so special, right? Because it's just a can that you probably got with a box of Milo, right?
Yeah, it's my green bottle, my
Yes.
green Milo bottle. I still have it. I keep it at Dad's house. He would still make me Milo in that up until a few years ago just before COVID, he started to get a bit sick, so he didn't do it so much. But it's still there. Whenever I go to his house, I make sure it's still there. It's in the cupboard. I'm like, good. It's just a special thing that I knew would always be there when I woke up and came downstairs. My chocolate Milo would be waiting for me.
That is so nice.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes those things, right? And I gotta say that you are very good at that, at finding like we were talking. That's why I talked to you about Russell Dazzle and everything, because you're very good at finding these poetic moments in life. So I wanted to ask you if that has always been the case, or is that something that you had to find because before you were very gray and then you had to like change your mindset, or you just been like this since day one?
I think, I don't know, I think maybe I've just always been like this. I didn't realise that I didn't realise that was any different to anyone else, really. Yeah.
No, it's great. It's great. Now, just to close it up, this is a question that I will ask every single guest on the podcast.
Okay.
And I think it's important as a reflection just of life, because we exist and everything. And it's a very simple question, but I want you to be as descriptive as possible and
Okay.
give us everything, give us the smells, give us who's there.
Ooh.
And everything. And it's basically, on an ideal day off, what is an ideal day off for Antonia? Who's there? What does it smell? What are you eating? What are you doing? How's the weather like? Just be as descriptive as you can.
Okay. An ideal day off. So, it's got to be sunny, but not too sunny that it's like hot and you're dying, right? It has to start with a coffee, especially the smell of coffee when you really want one is the best thing ever. So you got to start with your coffee, then do something peaceful for a little while, like reading or something like this. And then, of course, an ideal day off has to be like going to a restaurant or a cafe that you really want to go to.
Yes.
Ordering one of your favorite dishes. Lately we've been going to Happyfield in Haberfield a lot because the coffee is really good there, and they have the best pancakes. So the smell of the sweet pancakes and the pepper butter, which is elite, melting over the top.
Butter, yeah.
And we always order extra pepper butter, of course. So going that, and it's nice and local, it's easy to get to. And then finishing the day off by doing something nice in nature, going for a walk or going to the beach or the lake. Yeah, so a little bit of home, a little bit of out, a little bit of nature is the ideal day off.
Perfect. I love it, Antonia. It sounds great. And I also want to thank you for sitting down with me.
Yeah.
It was great.
It's been so good.
It's been great. I really appreciate you. You make a big difference in work and as a friend and everything. And I'm very, very happy for the opportunity of interviewing you. I really appreciate you, Antonia.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And hopefully as this grows, I'll have you again.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And you'll tell me more about your accomplishments and where you've been and what's been happening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been so good.